backstage at Lakewood for Tour 8 with Incubus. I have Mike and Jose. We have a lot of ground to cover with this new album.
Let's hit it.
So for starters, I'm really interested in Skrillex coming into the fold with you guys. So how did that even come into play? I mean, I feel like you guys know him, right?
Yeah, I've been friends with him for years, and we've worked on music together in the past. He's just a great guy.
Yeah.
Friend. We were hanging out as friends normally do, and just he wanted to hear what our album sounded like. So
That's what I figured.
Into the studio with us. He didn't know the other guys too well.
Yeah.
And he has a really great energy, and he came into the studio and kind of just in the middle of the session said, hey, can I mess around with, there was a song called Familiar Faces.
Right.
He asked if he could kind of mess around with it in the other room on his laptop.
Right.
Of course. I mean, for me, I know what he's capable of, so I was really excited.
And I was wondering,
the idea of him like digging in.
Yeah.
And then everyone else seemed to dig what he was doing.
Yeah.
And kind of just progressed from there.
I was just wondering if that was an awkward conversation, like artist to artist, to be like, can I, is he stepping on toes if he does that? So I had to kind of be a little sensitive for him.
Some people work in, people do get sensitive about
Sure,
like
it's your work.
I think in today's musical climate, so many people are collaborating with other people constantly, and the younger generation of musicians are far more collaborative than the older generation of musicians and producers and that sort of thing. And so for us, I mean, I've gotten to work with him on other projects.
Yeah.
And so him and I have in the past have been really collaborative like that. So him asking to do that wasn't a weird thing for me at all.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
And for whatever reason, everyone was just like super cool with it. But the bottom line was when the song came back to us, it was way cooler than it was before. So, and it wasn't just me who thought that.
Light bulb goes off.
The other guys were feeling it also. So.
Right.
Listening to that in conjunction with the rest of the record, because it was pretty much said and done. It was mixed. We were ready to pull the trigger.
I was wondering how far along.
Brought it in, and we were like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's roll with it. And we were listening down to that. We were starting to play it for like the label and just other outlets. And that one song kept popping up, and we were just like, there's something. This one is like just sticking up.
It's putting its hand up.
Way. So we were like, the rest of them need to be brought up to that, elevated to that too.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were able to like block out a little bit of time with him. And he just was really, I think, gonna see what he can get done. Maybe another song, another few. And he ended up doing the whole record, and it really like was the ribbon on the, on the gift. It was perfect.
That's awesome. So it's really kind of a stroke of luck that it all worked out, because obviously that guy's pretty busy.
Planets aligned.
Yeah.
A lot of things had to happen in order for that to work out, and we weren't planning on it. That was also one of the most beautiful things about it, was that it was completely unplanned, organic.
Yeah.
It just happened on its own amongst friends and amongst people who mutually respect each other's skills. And he's, in my opinion, he's like a musical savant. He's like a visionary, somebody that has changed the shape of how people listen to modern popular music.
Right, and he's worn so many faces himself, as Sonny, and then with his band, and then as a producer, and so like you said, he's got a lot.
That's why he can go between being a producer and being a musician so seamlessly, because he sang in a rock band, and he's equally comfortable playing guitar as he is singing, as he is making music on making electronic music.
Right,
so it's all just music to him, and it's all just music to us too.
Very cool. So with this album, and you may have different answers here, but I love to ask musicians about this. In retrospect, when you're thinking about your time in studio and crafting this album and everything, what was the song that was probably the hardest for you personally to get a handle on this album?
We have a song called Undefeated that's on this album, 8. And that song went through like a million different changes.
Yeah.
Different versions of the song, the origin of that song started years ago, and we kind of developed it into a song, and then when we got into the studio, it just completely flipped around and changed many different times into what it is now.
Yeah.
But we're all happy with how it ended up, so.
We like took the coolest section, like right in the middle, section, and we were like, what if we take that and build a song around that? And then so it kind of developed like that.
Scrap everything.
It became such a rad. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It was so cool, and like, that's the cool thing about going into the studio and sort of writing in that space too. You don't really know what's going to happen, and things are just like
Right,
moving.
because I understand as musicians, like sometimes you'll walk in with like the skeleton of like this is where we're going, and some of these songs will evolve in such a way that when you listen to it on the final mix, you're like, wow, because you know where it started.
Yeah.
You know,
for the most part, that's how it is. We come in with like an idea, the skeleton, but we always leave room for a couple things that happen naturally in the studio. There's always been that element in all of our records too.
Now he mentioned one of his favorites on the album. How about you? Do you have a favorite on there?
A favorite.
Pick your favorite child, Mike.
Congratulations on the little ones, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Favorite songs. I would have to say "Loneliest."
Yeah.
I think it's the most progressive sounding song on the album. I think it's sort of the most well-crafted pop song, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I kind of want to shift gears because I was looking over your Twitter and everything on Mix Halo.
Yes.
Tell me about this, because I have never heard of something like this, and I'm really intrigued with this whole process.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one who hasn't heard of it, because nobody's really heard of it.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go straight to the source on this.
I've been working on it for a couple of years now. The guys in the band are also involved with it. They're being very supportive. Basically, a couple of years ago, I had the realization that it would be awesome for the audience to be able to listen to basically what I'm listening to and what we're listening to on stage while we're performing.
In the in-ear.
Notice we're all wearing in-ear headphones while we're playing. We've been doing that for a long time, and it allows us to hear each other clearly, and there's a lot of detail that gets lost when sound is swirling around up in, these venues are really big, and it's kind of difficult to control what the mix sounds like. It's just a really different experience. But if mixed properly, it could sound, there's no limit to how great it could sound. It can sound like it's like a live album quality version of what you're watching.
Okay.
It's working the right way. So we built a system that is, it's an app that you download to your phone.
Okay.
It's also a Wi-Fi technology that we created. We have our own Wi-Fi access points, so they're placed up on the stage and in different places in the venue.
Right.
And all people have to do is download the app and plug in a pair of headphones. They need to be wired headphones, not Bluetooth headphones.
Right.
And it's actually very important that they turn their Bluetooth off right now. We're working out all these.
All the kinks, sure.
We're working them out. It's early, but it allows you to tune in from your phone and listen to a studio quality.
Wow.
Mix of the show, and it's awesome. And the first time ever, you can turn the music down. It's the first time you can.
I have been to those shows where you're like, okay, I'm starting to lose the high end of my ear. I'm dying.
Your ears get fatigued very quickly at live shows.
Yeah.
So you lose so much of the details, so much of what's going on.
Right.
You're just sort of used to it. So this is a whole different experience.
So you've got an audience of people wearing headsets. Is that weird?
I mean, we're wearing it. We're wearing headphones. So
would it come to a point where you think everybody would literally be wearing in-ears?
I mean, it sounds crazy, but I actually think it's. I do. Actually.
This is a very interesting concept.
It's just people tend to have very strong preconceived ideas of what it's like when you're experience a concert like that, but their opinions tend to change after they've tried it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that everybody has to use it. Doesn't mean that people have to use it the entire time.
Right.
But in our experience so far, and it's still early, but most of the time people use it, they tend to not take it off. They tend to keep it in for the whole show. But, if you want to be able to experience the show the way that one normally would, you're free to.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes I'm one of those people that, like, there's certain bands I want to, when that bass or the drums kick in or whatever, and you feel that on your chest.
You still feel it. It's still there. That's the cool.
Because I love that. Yeah, I love to feel it.
We're not trying to take that part away. That part will still be there.
Yeah.
But there's a way to curate an experience for people where there is no PA system and you just have low end. You have subs, and
it's not muddy.
The combination of being able to hear in your ears, and then the combination of all the low end coming from the subwoofers, it's amazing. It's incredible. It's a different experience.
Okay, so it's called Mix Halo. Yes. So you guys be ready for that. I'm very interested. So how soon in the future would we see people wearing headsets at an Incubus show?
Some tonight.
No.
You're gonna see some tonight.
Oh my God.
Yeah, people.
So I could do this tonight.
You could do it tonight. Yes.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, first.
I thought this was still like beta. Oh, I'm very
excited. It is very much beta.
Okay, so I can give feedback.
We're letting people try it and use it.
That's very exciting.
We need to make it work, right? Perfectly. So we're letting people use it, and we want to see how they like it.
As well, too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm very interested in this. Well, look, guys, I really appreciate your time and the education on Mix Halo.
Yeah, no problem.
This is very cool. Yeah, for sure.
Halo.com.
Yes. Okay, well, it's going to be an Incubus show from the future, I guess. And again, we really appreciate it. The album 8 is fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing that to us and playing here in Atlanta and taking some time to talk with us today.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Incubus backstage at Radio 105.7 Lakewood.